episode of Chatty Broads with Becca and Jess.
Well, hello, broads. Ooh. I tried to make it spooky for a second. It just sounded old. Hello, broads.
Oh, dearie.
We're back for the Halloween special, guys.
Oh, and per tradition, obviously, the year could not go by without a visit from Roz Drezfalez.
She's here.
She's
Hi.
back in the building.
I'm back. How are you guys?
Oh, we've missed you so much.
Broads, if you are a new listener, it might be worth tuning in back to some of our old episodes with Roz Drezfalez in the building. And she also has a fabulous podcast called Ghosted.
It's so good.
Thank you.
So fantastic.
Well, it's so crazy. It's been a year to the date the last time that I was on your show.
Yes.
And last time, just like today, it's my birthday.
Yes.
And I can't think of what I'd rather be doing.
Oh, we just love you. I know last year you showed up and you were like, well, yeah, I have something. It's my birthday. Or no, we were doing a Zoom because it was that. And we're like, oh my God, what? And then you came in today and you're like, well, yeah, it's my birthday. And we're like, oh my God.
No place I'd rather be.
The fact that you would sacrifice your birthday day to spend
Oh my
time with
God.
us.
I love it. You guys are so fun.
Okay,
love you.
what we have to talk about is what we were just talking about, which I think Roz and I are going to have to go estate sale shopping together because we were just talking about estate sales and how, have you done it?
Have I done estate sales?
Yeah.
Yes,
Like frequently?
Honey,
Yeah.
I am on all the mailing lists. I am on all the websites. I get every single day.
Estatesales.net.
Yes, I am checking every day. I'm looking through people's stuff. Because that's the thing. That's what we were talking about. Like, you go to these things and you see somebody's every moment of their lives. You see pictures of their families. You see their pill bottles. You see everything.
Yeah.
so
You know what's
Sometimes.
really depressing to me is when you go in and it's their whole closet dumped on the bed, like just piles of like clothes.
But
just
some of
on the
these
bed.
companies really like honor the people
And curate it.
and curate it, right? But that's what all I'm saying is that it is so fascinating to see somebody's life, and it's not always that somebody died, you know.
Right.
Sometimes it's like people just move or they're downsizing or whatever. But I don't know. I'm always fascinated by seeing people's like. You're just like going into someone's life, and especially like you'll see like, oh, that's what they were into in the 80s and the 90s, and I love it.
It's like a stop motion looking at like when everything kind of ended, like where everything was at.
Oh my God! See now, but when we get spooky, like that's like always the thing where
Frozen
it's like
in time.
someone goes to see a house and the realtor, and they go in, and it's like as if someone just left in the middle of the night. What is that? I hear those stories sometimes.
Weird.
Well, both of you have frequently spoken about, because you are both like thrifting queens, estate sale queens,
Yes.
about being scared about purchasing something that is potentially haunted.
I know.
Right?
I think it's good to, you know, it's not even haunted too. Sometimes it's just like bad energy. Like you don't know what the previous owner, like you don't know what kind of like violence might have been going on in the home. Like you don't know.
You don't know.
No.
I think it's best to just do a little, just say some words, do some holy water, some sage, whatever your thing is.
Do what you got to do. But sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna risk it.
Like,
I'm not
why
gonna say anything. I'm not gonna do nothing and just see what happens.
Let's just see if I get a little bit of interaction in
chaotic.
my home.
I know it is chaotic, but even since I've talked to you guys. So last time I talked to you, I had recently moved to a new place, and it's not haunted, but I have gotten like.
You're like, but I'm really hoping I can get it to be.
No, I'm the opposite. I'm like, I got like a salt chunk in my room, and I've got like every single crystal you can imagine that's supposed to keep out the bad stuff, and I'm just like completely whatever it takes to keep away the ghosts. There's a time and a place. I just want to talk about them. I'm like, you know what I am? I'm like a shitty early 2000s gossip columnist. Like, I don't want to be confronted by the people that I'm constantly talking about.
Don't you dare call me out, and don't try to interact with me even though I talk about you.
I just talk shit about demons nonstop, but I don't want you to come for me.
They're just like, excuse me, I've heard you've been saying some shit about us around the block.
It's my security system.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it's like, this is how I'm going to keep you guys away.
But don't you feel like sometimes the acknowledgement of the other world is what seems to prompt their their appearances?
See, I don't know. Okay, I really am trying to just gather a team. Like, this is what my podcast has turned into, is like reaching out to these people that specialize in demonology and exorcisms and that kind of stuff, where I have a team just in case something goes down. I'm calling them all up and we're all
Ghostbusters.
Yes. And so I was just talking to one about this kind of a thing where it's like, are they just kind of floating around and then they're like, oh, someone's talking about us, let's go over there. Like, I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. I think it seems that there might be more to it. You have to really be looking for it.
Mm-hmm. Or I think it might be maybe the opposite of what I'm saying, where denial is really strong. So some people's denial is so strong that they're choosing to overlook these supernatural or extraterrestrial experiences they might have had. You know, you can do mental gymnastics in one way of making something a thing, but you could do the opposite of downplaying something that was a thing, you know?
Right. You also just said extraterrestrial, which I saw UFOs since I talked to you guys last.
Okay, so this is going to be a big theme of this episode, even though I know it's Halloween and it's supposed to be spooky. But
the extraterrestrial is spooky.
They're the thing right now.
Oh, they're having their moment, honey.
They are having their moment. They really are. I was just following a meme account that I love the other night, and she was reposting all these different videos of in New Jersey. There was some UFO thing flying through the sky the other night.
Yeah.
Anyway, tell us.
Beam me up, please take me.
I know. There is a part of me that's like...
I'm just like, where's the leg?
I know.
And I have a great story from my cousin, a little weird extraterrestrial one, frozen time story, as she tells
Oh my
it.
God.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, so I went to Sedona, which, have you guys ever been to Sedona?
My boyfriend's from there.
Oh my God, cool.
Yeah.
It is so beautiful.
It is the most beautiful. I'd never been, and I just like had the weekend free, and so I was like, I'm just gonna take my dog, and we're gonna like go places, go spooky places. I don't know. And again, I'm like, I'm into the crystals, so I might as well go to like the place you get the crystals. And so, I found this UFO tour thing there, and basically it was me and a family. We were the only people on the tour. And
did you have your dog, or were you just
my
alone?
dog was there, with us. And and this woman drove us out to I got in a car with some lady that said she was going to show me UFOs.
With the family?
The family drove separately, but and so
how much did this cost?
It was less than 100.
Okay.
It was not crazy.
Okay, not bad.
And it was kind of like, you're gonna see UFOs or your money back, and I'm like, works for me.
Wow, that is quite a guarantee.
It was. I think that's what they said. It was gonna be that if it wasn't. So we went out to some like lookout, and she explained to us what we're gonna see, and this woman knows a lot about this stuff, and she claims to have been abducted, and she gave us these like military grade goggles, and they're incredible, like these night vision goggles. And we just like, as soon as we get them on, and she gave us like these little laser pointers, and she explained to us the difference between all the different things you could see, you know, an airplane, a military, all of it, drones, all of it. And she's like, if you see something, like it's illegal to shine them at a plane. So just kind of put in the direction, and we'll all look in that direction. And like within just a few minutes, she's all, there's one. And and sure enough, it's like you can see planes, you can see they have got lights on, and you can see the different things. And then you see these like, essentially it's a dot. It's,
these white kind of...
It just looks like a star that's moving in a way that is it's on a mission.
Right. Have you been looking at videos since that too? Have you?
Not more than ever. I mean, it wasn't what they would consider structured craft. You know, it's like, I can't see the mechanics and stuff. It's just, who knows how far away it is.
Right.
But you just see like little dots. And then at like a couple of points, I can show you guys videos. At certain points, you could see them interacting kind of with each other, which planes couldn't do. Or stop and then go. Like, you can't just stop up there.
Fuck, I was trying to find the video that this girl was posting because it sounds like exactly what you're describing. And it'll be like zooming kind of, and then we'll like hover.
Yeah, it was
and, like,
so weird.
Wow.
Oh, and then she was telling us like, if you like keep clicking the laser, sometimes they'll like flash back. And we kept doing it, and I have a video where all of a sudden one just like gets really bright.
Weird.
That is wild.
And those lasers are actually so high power that like, yeah, they are illegal to shine at a plane and stuff because they're bright. They must have been those illegal lasers.
I don't know what this thing was that I went on. The lady that did it, I was like, can you please come on my podcast? And she's like, yeah. And I hope she didn't get abducted because I have not heard from her. I have not heard from her since.
You're like, the fact of the matter, she's going out every single night, just pointing laser pointers, like doing Morse code at UFOs, and God knows what she's asking them to do.
And I asked her, like, do people get abducted from Sedona? Like, do people say that? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, I don't know if I want this. She's like, oh, it's fun. It's like, it's fun. Like, it's great. It's like a beautiful thing.
Come back. It's wild.
I mean, I'm not against it. I'd love to be abducted. Okay, broads, little pause from this alien ghost spookiness to talk to you about this important thing. Listen, I was at my dad's house over the weekend, and the second I walked in, the entire house smelled like I walked onto the set of a fall Hallmark movie, like pumpkin spice, warm apple pie, which, come on, no complaints here, but noticeably absent was the smell of a litter box, which, considering he has an indoor cat, is a pretty big deal. But that's because he uses Pretty Litter.
Okay, so Pretty Litter is the best cat litter if you want to keep your house from smelling like cat litter. That's like the worst smell in the entire world. So Pretty Litter's ultra-absorbent crystals trap odor instantly, and they last up to a month. And I have 2 cats, and before we made the switch to Pretty Litter, I would swear I was scooping out their litter box multiple times a day. I was convinced I could smell it every time they used it. It was disgusting. But now that we use Pretty Litter, I honestly don't notice it at all, and we scoop it way less often. And it also has this amazing crystal base that helps minimize dust, which has not only helped my allergies a ton, but it's also minimized the number of little paw prints I find around the house. And then I am not walking around getting kitty litter stuck to my feet or dust stuck to it. Ugh, that's just the worst.
And the coolest part is that Pretty Litter even looks out for the health of your cat. When early signs of potential illness like kidney issues or urinary tract infection are detected, Pretty Litter will change color so that you can stay on top of your cat's health. And just to make this whole thing even more convenient, instead of going to the store and lugging around a boulder-sized bag of litter, Pretty Litter ships right to you in a small, lightweight bag.
Make the switch to Pretty Litter today. It's just good sense. And you can go to prettylitter.com and use promo code CHATTY for 20% off your first order. That's also good sense. prettylitter.com, promo code CHATTY for 20% off. prettylitter.com, promo code CHATTY.
So it is painfully obvious to us and probably everyone who uses any kind of traditional period care product that they are in need of a serious overhaul, okay? We've been using the same basic concepts for decades, but we all want more, right? I, for one, would like to not have to choose between a product that is comfortable, body safe, and safe for the planet. Why can't we have it all in one? Well, actually, now you can with Flex.
Flex is completely changing the period care products we've all known forever. And that's a really good thing. Right now, they've got 2 products. They've got the Flex Disc and they've got the Flex Cup. I love the Flex Cup. I've been using a menstrual cup for years now. I literally put it in at the beginning of the day and I forget about it until I'm home again at night. It's amazing. It's a no-fuss product. I recommend to everyone. You should just try it. If you've seen a cup before, but you think they look intimidating, I totally understand. But trust me, the Flex Cup's so easy to use. It's such an easy learning curve. It's made with beginners in mind. And it's zero waste. You can literally keep one for years. And you're going to save so much money.
And the other product Flex offers is their Flex Disc, which is unlike anything I had ever used before now, but now it's the only thing that I use. It's basically a bendable disc with soft plastic in the middle that collects rather than absorbs, and it fits completely inside, so you truly forget you have it in. And are you ready to hear the real kicker, broads? It's the only product that lets you have 100% mess-free period sex. Yeah, You heard that right.
Say goodbye to cramps, put sex back on the table, and lend Mother Nature a hand. Go to flexfits.com/chatty. Use code chatty for 20% off Flex Disc starter kits or get 10% off your first Flex cup. Just try it. It's so much better. Anyway, plus you get free US shipping. Use code chatty at fits.com/chatty. I had a friend in high school who was like really into, I don't know, he was so weird. He worked at it was actually my boyfriend's friend. He worked at a telescope station up in the mountains. Did you know these things existed?
Yes,
I didn't know about this. They're remote telescope stations.
Okay.
And people, very wealthy people who are interested in astronomy around the world can tap into these telescopes. They're giant, like half the size of this room in these huge places in the middle of nowhere where there's no light pollution so you can see the stars through them.
Oh, yes.
So this guy's job, and he was like probably 18 at the time, like someone would call him up, some wealthy guy in New York or whatever, and would be like, I want to, can you adjust the telescope to this coordinate? And he would drive, he lived in the mountains, and he would drive there and adjust the telescope. Anyway,
oh my God.
But he had
is
lasers, and he was
frightening.
like, do not point these like up in the sky. You can it's actually like a federal offense. You have these like illegal lasers that are so powerful that they can really fuck up flight paths and shit like that.
Wow, yeah.
So
I
that's
don't know.
probably what she had.
I think what I did was shady. I'm not
My
sure.
point being, if it was a UFO, the light probably could come in contact with the UFO. That's my point in saying that.
I
Like,
highly recommend this thing I did.
If she's still there.
If you just Google like Sedona UFO, you'll find it, and it was really cool, and it felt majestic. Like I also happened to do a whale watch, which I've never done with my parents.
in Sedona?
No, a week or two after, my parents were in town and we did that, and it was like the same feeling.
Oh, here in LA?
Yeah, like in Long Beach area, yeah. So
You could do that.
They have
Yeah.
amazing whale watching right off of our coast.
yeah, and that was a very similar feeling where you're like, wow, we share the same universe.
This is so much bigger than myself.
Yeah,
Trippy.
it felt very like that. So, I don't know. I thought it was really cool. And so, UFOs are really having their moment. I mean, people, I don't know, they say UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena. It's like, I don't really know. Or in like Demi Lovato says now we should say extraterrestrial instead of alien. Their show is really... I watched it.
Demi Lovato's?
Yes. I thought it was really fun. They're all looking for UFOs and...
Oh yeah, they have that it's fully UFO because they got abducted, right?
That's what Demi says.
That's what
I
Demi
can't
says.
handle Demi after the yogurt shop scandal. I am over them.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah. But the UFOs have gotten to the point of pop stars, and they're trying to make a name for themselves. They're trying to collab. These extraterrestrials.
They're like, we're ready for you to all give us the credit we deserve. I just picture now when the aliens come and potentially invade, that because you made an interactive connection by flicking that laser at them, that they're gonna land and just give you a little wink and pass by you.
Yeah.
They'll be like, you're good.
I truly believe that they're not bad.
No.
There's nothing that makes me think that they're bad, in my personal opinion.
No, not at all.
Because
What are they doing, though?
they could do so much fucked up shit to us. There's obviously so much smarter than us. There's so much more advanced than us. They could do something. I think that they're good. I think they come in peace. That's what I think.
What if they're not, what if the UFOs and the extraterrestrials are actually just computers or robots and they're not the actual beings from the other planet? Because maybe they can't come into our atmosphere. So maybe they're sending little,
Oh my gosh, drop the robots off. How precious.
I am convinced myself today, but I've thought about it before. I really think your house stuff is extraterrestrial. I do. I don't think it's ghosts. I really do think it's aliens. When you were talking about the buzzing thing, give a little quick recap about that part
Becca,
of it.
my
you
God.
saying that just made my whole body covered in chills.
Tell about that part, because that part,
What if I'm living on a
alien burial ground.
like a whole I mean, you never know, or some sort of little blip in like a dimension.
Okay,
like a little.
That's
like,
what I think.
just
That's
a
what I
little
think. Like your
blip.
attic or yes, that's kind of what I've been thinking the past several months. Tell me about that. Tell
Maybe
me
it's
about that buzzing
also
part.
why I've been having so many memory issues. Maybe it's not like just my brain needing to get.
Maybe I should show maybe I should play my cousin's story.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because it kind of goes into all of this. But please tell.
Okay.
Give a recap.
So recap, Broads and Roz, you and I talked about it a little bit, but I don't think I mentioned this to you. So over the past like year, I guess now, there's been weird phenomena at my home. It started with hearing noises and the dogs acting very strange, like not wanting to come in the house at certain points, which is very unlike them. And my daughter was like seeing things and having weird moments. But one of the strangest things for me was that for a while, I would wake up around the same time every single day. It was like 2:30 or 3 in the morning, I think. And I would wake up because I would hear this ringing in my ears, but I could tell that it wasn't in my ears. Like, you know the difference when you're have ringing in your own ears because you're like what a sound frequency is dying, they say, when you hear that ringing all of a sudden. It was an outside ringing, and it would literally like, it sounded like when you're in a movie and they're having like the person, like when someone gets shot and there's that ringing. That was that sound, and I'd wake up because of the sound of the ringing, and I'd always walk into the hall, and the hall, my bathroom hall, is what felt like so weird to me. And like, granted, there's the attic above, which feels like, oh, so on the nose, but I'd walk in and it was weird because I'd walk through the hall and I'd hear the ringing, and all of a sudden I'd be like, where is it coming from? Is it like a sink or something? And I'd walk through the hall and I'd take one step and the ringing would stop. And then I'd keep walking, and then I could tell the ringing was like behind me. So then I'd go back again, and then where it should be, it was like silence. And there was like this weird space where the ringing was, but I wasn't coming from anything. And that shit scared me like so bad, because I was literally waking up. There was truly like probably 3 weeks where I was waking up every single day, and it was really freaking me out. I'm like, what is going on in my house?
And
is
it was
there
sort
a
of
leak?
like pinpoints of sound and no sound, right?
Yes,
like that was
it was
kind
like,
of the
that's what I'm
bizarre
saying.
thing.
It was like this vacancy where all of a sudden I'd be like, oh, the ringing, I can tell I'm getting closer to it. It's getting louder. And then when I got to where it should be the loudest, it would be like gone. And then I'd go backwards and the ringing was there.
What is that?
And granted, when you guys opened up the attic, all the boxes that were close around the opening of the entrance of the attic were
Had all been
pushed back. And to me, like, that sounds kind of ghosty, but it also sort of sounds like this sort of like cosmic kind of like
a movement.
Right.
Oh God.
Do you think that there's extraterrestrials sneaking into your house?
Or just like energy,
knows?
like some split, like
a
some
dimension.
dimension force. Because it was so weird, because Evan always put all the boxes right in the front because it's easy access. And when there was one night when we were hearing a lot of like banging up in the attic, and we were like, I was like, Evan, and I was like, Evan, you need to go up and look at it now. And he was like, I don't want to do it. And I was like, I'm not going up and doing it. So he went up, and I was standing at the base, and he's like, fuck. I'm like, what? He's like, all the boxes are pushed back.
I hate that.
And I'm like, what? Like, and we're trying not to panic, and then we're just like lying in bed, unable to sleep.
I do think it's aliens or extraterrestrials. That's what I think.
I want to play this story for you guys.
Because,
oh my gosh,
they're trying to, I really think that they're trying to break into showbiz.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
They're like,
they know
please pay attention.
It's LA. They're like, maybe they're trying to do like a 90-day fiance kind of a thing or something.
I'm like, I accept.
Yes.
I do. We'll figure out the husband portion at some point.
Now, guys, this is my cousin, and they are, I said I was going to keep it anonymous, but whatever. This is my cousin. I won't say their name. And she said she has so many stories she doesn't even know. She sent me like literally like a half an hour worth of stories, which I will be listening to. But this one seems very perfect for this conversation.
Okay.
Granted, it's a little long, but just tune in, guys. This is my family has a lot of interesting stories in general on my dad's side. And this is the one thing I will say about your house. is that you do say though it feels like it comes and goes, but I have never been in your house and felt any weirdness.
No, and I don't.
So that's what is interesting.
I don't feel like when I step into my house, like I don't feel like, oh, this feels full of haunting to me. It ever. Now we've had the babysitters mention stuff before,
Yes.
but no
Classic.
one's really like, oh gosh, this house feels weird. When I walk into my home, I feel love and hominess. Like I don't feel anything weird. But then there's just these moments where all of a sudden, like I was saying, it's like, and that's why I'm like, I sometimes don't know how to explain it on the podcast because I'm like, everything's been great for 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden one night there's ringing, there's weird energy that both Evan and I feel, and it feels like heavy. I don't know. It just
well, that sounds kind of demony.
Okay, hang on a minute. In my bag here, I don't leave the house without ghost hunting equipment. Should we see if there's something here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh my
Well,
gosh. Okay.
See, this is an EMF meter, which there's so many like things in here like that are admitting electromagnetic frequency.
Sure.
I am sort of a scientist.
Right.
So I don't know. They might be going off. Wait, let me see. I haven't used this in a while.
Well, and then okay, so this is the studio too.
Yeah, I don't know if there is anything. I also have this. This is a spirit box, which
What's that?
basically it like scans a bunch of like radio waves, and you can like. To be completely honest with you, I don't believe in this as much as other things.
Okay.
And basically, it's like they're kind of noisy, and it just like is scanning through like fuzz, and then sometimes you'll hear like, "Hey, bitch!" Like you'll hear like a little
weird little like blip.
a little blip, and then people will be like, "It just said, hey, bitch." Like, so I don't know. You want to see?
Yeah.
Or sorry, we could go to your.
No,
No,
do it.
please.
We've got
Okay.
plenty of time.
Okay. Let's see. I haven't. It's been a minute since I've used this. Okay.
And so what does that thing do, though? Also, why don't... Okay, yeah, so you just think that one might be a little more hokey.
I don't know. People believe in it, but... Wait. Oh, we can just do it this way.
Whoa.
How do we make it?
Oh. I just heard it say something.
I heard that, too.
Wait, so do we, like, ask it a question or what?
Wait, what was that? That was like
A full sentence.
Your face.
Wait, is this like... does this work like a radio scanner, though? Or like we picking up like cop cars kind of thing, or no?
I don't know if it picks up cop cars.
Or like radio? Is it like picking up... Can it pick up radio, Or
Yeah,
no?
that's like what it's
Okay.
doing. And
But,
that's
like,
why
could
I'm
that just
like...
be like a radio station?
Exactly. But I think that people think that because it's saying a certain thing at a certain... Like if you're like, what's
Okay.
your name? And then all of a
Okay.
sudden you hear like...
Sarah.
You hear like Costco, like it's like a Costco commercial. It's like Costco's here. The ghost's name is Costco. That's where I'm like a little bit like, girl.
Okay, let's ask it a question.
Okay.
What?
Are you an extraterrestrial?
That's music.
Other. I heard other.
We just said other.
I heard other. Okay.
That's a fucking radio station.
I know, but
okay.
still. Okay. What is your name? Alvin?
Okay, wait. What? Why are you here in Jess? Oop, let me finish. Why are you here in Jess and Evan's home? Hey, deep window.
Wait, I need to turn this up. Why are you
For
here?
music.
Why are you here in this home? What was that? What was that?
No.
How cute do I look? I can't hear it.
This is what it sounds when I'm tuning my AM radio stations. I don't like this one.
Now, I will say it did say other, and then it said Alvin.
I heard other and Alvin.
Yeah. So I'm
Wait.
getting.
I want to do like one more question. Let's do like.
Do you come in peace?
That was weird. It sounded like it said like come in peace.
It fully said come in peace.
It said come in peace.
It fully said come in peace.
It said come in something.
It's coming. It said come in peace. You heard that,
Come in
right?
peace. Yeah. No, I did. We're gonna have to replay that.
Okay. Where are you? The one that was in the attic?
All I heard was a clip of Mexican music.
I know. Maybe it's not the person in the attic.
Oh, great.
But whoever they are, they come in peace.
They come in
peace.
So Alvin, the extraterrestrial, comes in peace.
Are you enjoying the show so far?
We didn't catch that. Can you repeat?
I heard no.
I heard no, too.
Damn it.
Fuck you, Alvin.
All right. Well, you need to put in like the app description, like special guest Roz Drezfalez and Alvin.
Yeah.
Who is not happy about the show so far. God.
They're peaceful.
Alvin's not a huge fan, but, luckily coming in peace.
Explain this one.
So this one, they say that ghosts emit electromagnetic frequencies, we're electric beings. And so sometimes they can kind of intelligently, if you're asking if you're ghost hunting and all of a sudden this little thing is like going crazy or whatever, you're like,
right.
Oh, what's over here? And then sometimes I've been involved in paranormal investigations where it's like, you can talk to that, like kind of a yes or no situation, which you can do with a lot of different things. Make this light turn on or whatever. So, you could be like, is your name Alvin? And then it's like,
right.
So I don't know. Something like this I think is good, but if we're just like sitting here, I don't know.
We could try talking to it.
Sure, we could.
I would be so interested to hear this stuff too in the hallway.
Might have to do a little video.
Field trip.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Are you Alvin? See, it's not.
Is this an extraterrestrial? Is this an extraterrestrial beings? Are you extraterrestrial beings? Give them time.
I'm just picturing like an alien coming down here, making it in showbiz, like being a rapper or like a pop star. She's the extraterrestrial.
What if it's like Men in Black and they come and they really are trying to just like take over bodies? And you're like, it was so crazy. They changed, they just changed. It just wasn't the same anymore.
I'll keep this on and I'll keep an eye on it.
Please do.
Because I've done this before where you just kind of set one down and then
it'll start going off.
Yeah. And then that's when we got to be like, pull this one out and be like, what's going on?
Okay,
great. So I'm going to play this story and let's see if there's
sorry
any.
about that.
No, we are on absolutely
thrilled.
no schedule
I'm
at all. But this one is just, okay. It's kind of long, but it's long, but it is interesting because I'm curious. You have people come on with extraterrestrial stories, right?
Yeah. Sometimes. Not a ton. I mean, a lot of times people will be like, one time I saw a thing that was weird in the sky for 2 seconds, but I haven't talked to anybody that's been abducted or anything like that.
Well, I want to play this just because I want to see if it aligns with any of the experiences in your home. That's mainly why I want to play this, because I find it interesting in the context of what we've been discussing.
Hey, good morning. It's me. I don't know if you're going to be editing this or whatever
Nope.
for your podcast, but here goes. So, I have a missing time story. It happened while I was living in LA in a
The details.
place called Alhambra, in an apartment there near Main Street, somewhere near Front Street and Main Street.
This is so my family, by the way.
Anyway, so the person that I was living with, my boyfriend at the time, actually had.
Uh-oh.
Oh, interference!
Oh my God.
Alvin, he's trying to sabotage this show.
Alvin.
near Main Street.
Okay.
The person that I was living with, my boyfriend at the time, actually had a really really scary, really bizarre, very memorable UFO experience. And I don't know if I have time to tell the whole thing, but him and his dorm mate or housemate, I think at the time, I'll try to make it fast, they were driving down a highway with one car behind them. They saw something in the sky. He was driving, so he was trying to concentrate on the road and kind of look in the sky. So what he said was there was this thing. It was really, really high up in the air, but it came kind of towards their car where the two cars were driving. And it came down near the car, and then it shot out in the front of the car, still really, really high up in the air, not like right above it like in a movie, but
Kind of sounds like the movement.
and then he said that and they're still driving, and then he said that I know this is going to sound insane, but he said that it came down just a little bit, and it started pacing the car, and then went over the car. And as it went over the car, he said that all this gray matter started coming out. And I remember telling him, like, whoa, what do you mean matter? Like a fog, like a mist, like a powder, like a what? Like ashes, like a light, like what? And he said that he had no words for it. He couldn't describe it. All he knows is that he could see it, and it was gray, so it had mass. It was matter, some kind of matter. He doesn't know what. And it kind of came down on them, and then the thing was just gone, and it was just gone. And the reason he told me this story was because he had this really weird, like these three, I call them beauty marks, but three little tiny moles on his chest in the shape of a triangle. And I always thought like it was kind of cool, you know? And so I asked him where he got it. Or not where he got it, but I asked him, you know, about it one time. I mentioned it, like that it was like so, I don't know, the shape of it or something was weird. So anyway, that's when he told me that story. And then he said after that happened, like, I don't know, not long after that experience, he started hearing like there were people in his house, and not like any commotions or not like any big, large noises, any commotion or anything, just like the sound of, you know, when somebody else is on the other side of the house when you're home. Like you can hear somebody moving around, whatever. So he said that went on for a while, and then eventually the last time that he heard it, it sounded like somebody, like the people were in the room with him, or whoever was in the room with him. And then it just never happened again. But after that, he had these three moles. And I thought, ooh, that's a creepy story, you know, whatever.
But wait, there's more.
And then a while after he told me that story, I asked him to tell me again one night because I thought it was a cool story. But after he told me that second time, that same week, just a few days later, I had walked into our kitchen, and I glanced at the microwave, and it was like 2:45. I walked over to the sink, and I washed maybe like 3 or 4 dishes, and it usually takes like maybe 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes if you start staring out the kitchen window or whatever, you know. So anyway, I finished washing the dishes. I turned around to walk out of the kitchen, and it's like almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Like I had lost like an hour and a half. Like I had lost a really, really, really long time. And I just remember looking at the microwave and thinking, and freezing and getting this like cold chill through my body. And I kind of like looked around, and I didn't have a cell phone at this time. I don't remember. This was like 20 something years ago, but I looked around and I was like, what? And then I just remember looking back at the microwave like 87 million times because it was so weird. Anyway, shortly thereafter, like the next day, I had these 3, and I will send you a picture. I had these 3 beauty marks on my arm, on the back of my shoulder, that are the exact shape, and they're pointing in the exact direction as that he had on his chest. And it was really weird because, like, we would see things in the apartment. We would have, like, all these paranormal experiences. I remember one time his son, who was really little, who was, like, 6, woke up one morning, and when they were en route to his mom's house, his son had mentioned, "Dad, what's a spirit?" And my boyfriend was like, where did you hear that word? I've never told you that before. Like, he knew. He was like, I've never talked to my son about any of this stuff. I've never anything, He goes, I have no idea where he would have, even gotten an idea of a spirit. And he goes, so I asked him, where'd you hear that word? And he said, well, last night there was a green light on the ceiling in the room. And that he just, that word came into his head or something like that. I don't know. It was a really long time ago, but anyway, so there's like a combo paranormal and like maybe, abduction story. I don't know. Like, I have no idea. And I know that all three moles showed up at the same time on my shoulder, because at the time I was, like I said, I was living in LA, and I was like, in my early 20s, and I was like obsessed with checking out my skin, and making sure, because of the sun and, all that kind of stuff, whatever. So the fact that they showed up overnight all at the same time was just like the weirdest thing. And and to this day, I never have really talked to anybody about it. I've always wondered about it. I've been listening to a lot of Art Bell. I always have for years listened to Art Bell. And so I've always wanted to share that story. So there you go, and do whatever you want with it,
Anyway, she was like, I don't know if that's like a blip in like the dimensions or what, but I thought that was very interesting, and it made me kind of think of your house.
Yeah, no, totally.
And also that was weird, like the description too of her ex's son saying like this like word like appeared in my head, kind of like spirit, when I saw this like it sort of made me think of the Ember's experiences of like, like not being asleep but like seeing or experiencing things.
She also always like around that time started asking a bunch of like very strange questions that like weren't instigated by us or anything that she was watching about like death and God and whatever. And I'm looking, and I definitely have a triangle right there.
No. See, I think that I have heard that kind of a thing where they leave a marking and they like track you. You know, like they do that with like, I don't know, sharks or something.
I have triangles all over my chest.
Wait, I have kind of a triangle. It's not like a perfect triangle, but it is a triangle.
Okay, granted, freckles are like stars. You can create a constellation with anything. I'll just put that out there. But let's see.
That's a triangle,
Let's see.
This 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And then I have this 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. But that's like a perfect triangle. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, granted, I'm going to be the skeptic of the day because I have a lot of freckles.
I have tons of beauty marks.
But
all
also,
over.
this was LA area. That's not like
true. Also, it is weird that she said that they like appeared, and same with her boyfriend at the time. It was like
that
they
is very
noticed
strange.
overnight. Like, what the hell?
I know. So the story that I was thinking about, I have to look up to confirm that this is true, and I didn't just make this up. Fran Drescher, the nanny.
Yes, but of course.
She claims that she, this from the Today Show website. It says, Fran Drescher, aliens implanted me with a chip.
Okay, it's weird that you say that, because when they were talking about, when I was listening to your story earlier, I was like, I wonder if these aliens are going around implanting people.
That's what I'm saying. They track you.
I had that thought too. Weird. And so she's saying that aliens did that?
See, but this is what I'm afraid of. If they start tracking me, they're going to be like, what is this bitch doing? Like,
what are these habits?
Yeah.
I'll definitely say this. So my mom lives like right on the water in Orange County, and so she's got this like crazy view of the beach, but then also at nighttime the sky.
Wait, this thing is moving. It's wiggling.
Uh-oh.
Show us.
I kind of don't know if I pick it up it might change things.
Nope, it's still going.
Now, I think it could be because my phone, because look, if you put your phone by it, it does.
Whoa.
Because the
wow.
waves.
Okay, keep it away.
Oh no,
Do you have
it's
incoming
really
stuff?
moving.
Do you have incoming stuff?
What do you mean incoming stuff?
Move your phone away. Yeah, see, it stopped.
I saw a little wiggle.
I saw a little wiggle too. Well, I mean, like,
You're no fun. You're the skeptic of the group.
And a chill fell over the air.
Actually, not today. I'm feeling very because I didn't get much sleep last night. I'm feeling very skeptical.
I've gotten so much more skeptical as it's been like 3 years that I've been doing my podcast, and at the first I was very like demon everything, and now I'm like, I've heard enough shit where I'm like, I don't know. I think it's very healthy, especially if you talk to people that are pros in the field. They'll say you have to be skeptical. You can't believe everything you hear.
I feel like since the house thing, I've gotten really skeptical because I feel a little crazy sometimes. So I used to definitely be like, and obviously I still will lean into it in certain times for fun because it's fun
we all
to like
have
lean
good
in.
stories.
Totally. But in general with the house, like it has to kind of be a big moment for me to be like, okay, because then I start going, okay, the house is old. You hear like growing pains of the house, like, whatever. But when you were with your cousin's thing, the talking in the room with you, that was one of the things that's when Evan and I had our first conversation about it, because we were sitting and eating dinner together, and all of a sudden we heard talking in our bedroom. And we were like, we both looked at each other. We were watching a show. We stopped the show and we were both like,
Alvin?
what the fuck? And Evan, gets up and he's just like ready to like hit someone and walks to our bedroom and he's like, there's nothing in the bedroom. And we were both like, we stopped the show because it was like, they are speaking in our bedroom.
Ew.
And it wasn't like, oh, there's someone out. Like we, you can hear, we know where the street is.
Did it sound weird at all, or did it literally just sound like people just chatting?
It sounded just like quiet, like,
Like whispering?
No, I don't like that.
But it sounded like whispering, but like you could hear it.
It's muffled. Yeah.
But it sounded like it was in the other room, so maybe that's why it sounded muffled. I don't know. Again, there's always the alien thing feels good to me. Like that feels like okay because of those moments. Also, like I said, there's weird fucking memory shit going on. I've been having these weird moments where I've been going to the doctor for it, trying to figure out what's wrong. It looks fine, but they literally like weird shit like that where I'm like all of a sudden I'll hear this like ringing and I'll be like, what the heck is going on? But then I'm fine. But I haven't had it outside of the house yet, I will say. So
right.
Well, and this is like, with the pandemic, us being in our houses a lot. And I mean, I feel out of it as well because I'm like so not used to like having to be places and like, be around people. And
maybe we're observing more about our homes.
Have you had the time thing? Have you had any weird time blips?
Not that I've noticed. Not that I've noticed specifically. But again, I've also been feeling in this weird, like when I wake up in the middle of the night with the ringing, I don't know how to describe the feeling. It feels warped in the hallway. It feels like a warp, and I don't know, like that's the only word.
It's a portal.
It feels like very, like I can almost like feel...
is it sort of like in the movies where there is like a portal and it's kind of like a little bit like a fragmented
where you almost see like particles moving. Yeah, it feels like that. And that's the only way I know how to describe it. But again, there is the cemetery across from the house, and I know we don't know about this. I have to tell you both this story.
Tell me.
A cemetery story.
Okay.
This cemetery?
Not this one.
Okay.
So I was talking to my family, and my grandma told me a story about her mom. So my great grandma.
Okay.
When she was a kid. So this is like, early 1900s. When they would bury people, it was only wooden coffins. So she lived in Germany at the time, and they would only use wooden coffins, because that's just what they did. They didn't have the fancy steel ones.
And who wants to be in those airtight things slowly rotting away over hundreds of years? No thanks. Put me in the wood.
So they have the wood, but here's the issue. So back in the day before medicine was as it is now, they would often think someone was dead
bury people alive.
And bury them alive.
In the bell?
And they would attach the string to the person and then put a bell. And my
it's like, Jesus, how fast are they burying people?
Right.
Like the hour they pass.
I was just taking a nap. What the fuck?
Give it a few days, people.
I was just in a deep sleep.
Aren't there supposed to be rituals or something? Wait a few days. They're just putting you right in the ground minute grandma closes her eyes.
Like, damn it. Well, I guess my great grandma, when she was little, was there with was at the cemetery with, family or whoever. And they were kind of, you stroll through a cemetery sometimes, especially back then. It was very open and there were just kind of graves a lot of different places. So they were strolling through and all of a sudden that bell starts ringing as she's walking by. And she was, like I said, she was young and there are all these people and they start fuck and taking shovels.
Is that what they said in 1900?
Like, good Lord, bloody fuck.
What the fuck is this fucking shit?
I don't know how to swear in Scheisse. And they just start digging. And my grandma saw them pull a
Shut the
living
fuck up.
human being
No.
out of the ground.
Shut the fuck up.
Yes. And it scarred her so badly that when my Nana, her daughter, was little, she was like, you need to cremate me. Because she was so scared of being buried alive. It was so traumatizing to see that she's like, you need to cremate me. And at that time, cremation was like, nobody did cremation. It was very much not like a practice. And so they cremated her because she was literally, and she'd bring it up all the time because it was so traumatizing to her.
I have a story along those lines. So either my great aunt or my great great aunt, she was very witchy, mystical type of person. She had a dream she was buried alive. And she was like, cremate me. Cremate me, cremate me, cremate me. Mm-hmm. Of course, she dies. No one listens to her, of course.
Oh my God.
So, one of my family members tells this story. They're carrying her casket. You know how they do? Mm-hmm. With the pallbearers. The casket swings open as they're carrying it. And I think it was like my great uncle or something. He was like, I nearly fell to the ground when that happened. They closed the casket. She's dead in there. She's dead. She's not moving. This is not the early 1900s. This is probably the 1970s or some shit. They keep walking. A second time, it pops open.
How does that even happen?
Especially when the caskets nowadays.
Don't know. A third time, it pops open.
No.
They close it. And finally, that is it. They closed it. Really going off.
Oh my God. Sorry, Brod's the EMF.
Maybe she's
meter.
here. Open it. Turn it on. Turn it on. Turn it on.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Oh, it's stuck on the top.
It's on the top.
Turn on.
No, wait. Skeptic.
Okay.
Let's
Move the
see.
phone.
Okay, it did go away.
Damn it.
But now, in keeping with that thing, maybe sometimes someone's using the. All right, let's see.
Why is it louder? Okay, wait.
Okay. It's really talking.
Who's here?
Is this my great great aunt from the grave? Someone's aunt? That's what that sounded like.
That's
Should they have cremated you?
What was that?
I don't know.
I can't hear any of this.
Por favor.
Por favor, that's what I heard.
Cremate me, por favor.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah, if you go in
up
later.
the sound later
Interesting.
and slow it down. And all of a sudden all these broads are messaging and they're like, the messages!
I will tell you that my podcast, I constantly, and I even know if I do videos on Patreon or something, if a little piece of dust goes by, I'm here we go. So often people will be like, at 4:47, I heard someone in the background. And I'm like, my dog was coughing.
Yeah.
It's usually what it is.
Okay, broads, one more quick pause. As I get older, my philosophy when it comes to skincare sometimes is less is more. What I mean is I'm looking for high quality, proven to work ingredients without all the BS. I don't need a 50-step skincare routine if 45 of the steps are just not it. That's why I am so obsessed with my newest skincare routine from Oak Essentials, because they are all about doing the basics really, really well. Good ingredients, good formulas, and clear results are the focus behind all of Oak Essentials products.
Only 5 steps, broads. 5 steps is all you really need to have the glowing skin you've always dreamed of, because Oak Essentials 5-step skincare routine is made in California from plant-based quality ingredients. It'll nourish your skin at any age and any stage of life. And the 5-step routine includes a cleaning balm, a balancing mist, a ritual oil, moisture-rich balm, and a restorative mask when your skin needs a little bit of extra TLC.
I'm pretty darn picky about what I put on my face, so often I'll pick up a product at the store, turn it around, and the second or third ingredient is a fragrance or a filler that doesn't really do anything, or some other ingredient I would never ever want near my face. But with Oak Essentials, all of the ingredients pass my test. Oak's formulas are non-GMO, organic, and always free from synthetic fragrances, silicones, colorants, sulfates, parabens, petroleum, and all the other things you really don't want to be rubbing into your skin every day. Oak Essentials is powered by nature and proven to work.
Go ahead. Reveal your best skin with Oak Essentials at oakessentials.com. You can purchase the entire 5-step routine for just $195, or you can just try your first product for 15% off when you use code CHATTY at checkout. That's OAKESSENTIALS.com, oakessentials.com, promo code CHATTY.
Okay, you want me to be honest, broads? When I get busy, the absolute first thing to fall off my to-do list is exercise. Now, maybe, possibly, that's because it's the thing on my list that sometimes I feel like avoiding, but that's not the point. The point is I need to make getting my daily movement in as convenient as possible. Otherwise, let's just be honest, it's not happening. And I know it's important, especially now that I've been getting older. I've been just seeing how clearly moving my body helps me mentally. It's also, now that I'm getting older, I'm getting certain aches and pains, so it's helping me physically just feel better. And thanks to Peloton, getting in that daily bike class or yoga flow has never fit into my schedule more seamlessly.
Okay, Peloton might be known for their bike, but along with that, the Peloton platform also gets you access to all their other content, like cardio classes, yoga, meditation, guided running, bar, workout classes, skills for every preference and every length of time you could possibly want. Guys, they have just like super easy 10-minute arms classes with just like 3-pound weights that will get you absolutely sweating. And it's only 10 minutes. There's no excuse for that. If you have kids, while they're napping, while they're watching a quick little thing on TV, whatever, 10 minutes, you can do it. It's so approachable. I also use their guided running. They have like audio guided outdoor running classes. I love it. I've also taken their what are they called? Treadmill running classes. Peloton, they seriously have it all.
I've tried a lot of workout classes in the past, and Peloton classes and instructors are some of my absolute favorites. First of all, the music is so well curated, and then also the instructors are hilarious and motivating at the same time, which is not an easy task. I almost forget I'm working out by the end of it, and by the end of it, I feel amazing, and I have so much fun, even if the only thing I can fit in is a 15-minute cardio class. Listen, the hype is real. It's there for a reason, because Peloton is that amazing.
Experience motivation like never before with the Peloton bike, now $400 less. Go to onepeloton.com to learn more. That's ONE Peloton, Peloton.com, onepeloton.com. Also, get their app, even if you don't get the Peloton bike. It's awesome for fitness classes. Okay, that's all. onepeloton.com.
You're like, what can I say? Well,
how do you guys want to be buried?
cremated for sure.
I think
same.
cremated.
Same.
Yeah.
I'd like to be scattered somewhere.
Me too.
Yeah. I don't know where, but you know, it's so funny. I was like, what did we talk about the last time I was here? And I remember I told you guys the story of when I got hypnotized because I was eating too many Impossible burgers from Carl's Jr.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't take.
Oh, damn it.
I have found myself back there. So just an update
Carl's and
for everyone.
We've reconnected.
By the way, those are the best vegetarian fast food burgers.
They're incredible.
I know, they're really good.
way better than, Burger King or any of the other. I'm waiting for McDonald's.
Yeah.
Well, oh my gosh, when you were going to say, buried. The only thing that I might be interested in is bury me in like a garden with no coffin. Because then
That's
at
what my
least
mom
am I
wants.
fertilizing?
Get the worms.
So I'm saying let my body be a source of like, you
That
know.
is not up to code, my queen.
I know, but
Yeah.
what if you do? What if you do it in like some sort of like vacant
Okay,
area?
but think about the people that are gonna move in after you. See, you're not thinking about the horror
That's
movie.
true. That's true. When like all of a sudden they find one
I would
finger.
want that. If I found bones in my backyard, I would be like, oh hell yeah. As long as I wasn't having hauntings in my house, I'd be pretty psyched. They found like a femur in the backyard of my neighbors in Fresno.
See, now,
We were
how
out
does
in the
that
country.
happen? How does the femur just find itself there?
Get this, you guys. Well, granted, I mean, you know, all of this is very like ancient, especially the Central Valley where it's really fertile. I'm sure that's all, you know, indigenous people lived and grew food and died and all those types of things. So
That's true.
who knows? There was also so much weird shit in that house. And that whole neighborhood was a brand new development. And so I do wonder, I'm like, were there some dead people down under there who are haunting us? Who knows? But, oh, fuck. I was just going to tell a story. What were we talking about?
Burying.
Oh, guys, this is going to be this is going to blow your mind.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So I was telling someone the other day, it kind of has to do with the bones, not really, but I think it's going to blow your mind regardless. Someone was telling me the other day how their family's business was they would get, like, have you guys ever been on the East Coast and they have like fences that are all made with like rocks, you know, like the kind of rocks that you would maybe like line a garden path with.
Okay, sure.
Sure.
So someone's family business was they had fields and they weren't very fertile fields. And so every year they would plow through and gather rocks from the field. And I was like,
Okay.
what the hell are you talking about? Like, how do you get more rocks? Did you know that in places where it gets really cold, when it freezes, it will cause the earth to expand because water expands and it will push up rocks to the surface. So every spring there is a new rock harvest. New rocks that are up at the top of the soil that quite literally float their way up to the top.
I don't like that at all.
How fucking weird is that?
That freaks me out. That's like my fear of holes. There's something about that feels very
Isn't
like,
that
like
yeah.
coming out.
Crazy? So it might be the same thing with bones. Even in places where it doesn't get super cold, like Fresno, it does freeze. So you imagine over time, it will gradually push up bones, rocks, basically anything dense, which makes you wonder, at some point, especially on the East Coast, how are coffins
things
not
staying
rising to the
down?
surface? I mean, these are heavy rocks that are coming to the surface. Why would it stop bones and coffins from
Cut to
coming?
all of us in 20 years. It's just like we're like just walking through just like piles of like.
But I mean, like, I've been to Boston where it gets so cold, and these are like 200, 300-year-old graves.
Oh, I
Why
don't
is that
like
not a
that.
thing? But how crazy is that?
That's gonna be you. And they're gonna go out to their garden one day to water their
And I will have
tomatoes,
emerged.
and it's just gonna be you, bones.
I'm just slowly emerging. Okay, you guys, I have to tell you the story about my dad.
Tell,
Okay.
I've been dying.
So here's the thing. My dad is the king, like, skeptic. My dad is not somebody who ever, my entire life, has ever talked about, like, anything spooky or, like, anything mystical at all.
Isn't he a pastor or something?
No, that was Evan's dad, but no, he was super involved in the church for a long time, but he's like, I don't know, he's just talked about this the other day. He's just like East Coast, Pittsburgh, like 9 to 5, grew up working at dine. Like he's just not that way.
Okay.
So I asked him.
Would never call himself a real spiritual guy.
No. So I asked him, I was like, hey, we're going to do this like Halloween themed podcast. Like, has anything spooky ever happened to you? And he's like, well, give me a sec. And he sends me this long message. And then I called him after because I was like, excuse me?
What the hell?
Like, did I misread this? So he grew up, he was like in Albany, and he used to always go to his grandma's house. And sometimes when they would be at the grandma's house, they would play in the basement, which is like very, typical East Coast. Like they have basements where they'd keep things in. And he said one day he was down there with his brother and one of his cousins, and they were just kind of like fooling around and playing hide and seek. He was 5 years old. And he said it was weird because he had been down in the basement 1,000 times. He's like, he'd always felt a little like creeped out by it, but it's also, you know, you're a kid, it's a basement.
Basements
I
are
get
terrifying.
creeped out by basements.
I always say basements are scary because they're your eye level with dead bodies.
1,000%.
I haven't been in a basement that I didn't feel creeped out in. I'll just throw that out
Even
there.
when one's fully furnished, I'm a little bit like, I got a weird vibe in here.
We're not supposed to be 6 feet underground before we're dead, right?
No.
So they're in the basement, and but he says it's so weird because he's used to seeing a certain setup, and he said all of a sudden there had been a curtain that he hadn't even really noticed before that was there, that then was pulled back and revealed this like deeper part of the basement that was like darker. Oh. And he said, so he like went back there because they were playing hide and go seek. He said he went back there and he crawled into this little like hole looking thing, or this little like, I don't know, cubby. He said he crawled in and he all of a sudden was like filled with fear. And then he hears a tsk, and something, he didn't realize it was like a box, and something pushed down and locked him in. And he said his cousin and his brother were not down there.
He couldn't get out of the cubby?
Locked in. 5.
Oh, no.
He said an hour and a half he was screaming down there. And he's like, there was nothing in the basement. He's like, sure, maybe a latch got unleashed and something closed me in. But he said it felt like, he's like, I was all of a sudden like, and he said he remembers it like a premonition, so vividly, even though he was only 5. He's like, I was all of a sudden like filled with like a sense of fear, and then something closed it in. Screaming down there till he was like, for like an hour and a half. Because it was like, you know, you have a family over and like you're playing hide and seek and the kids forget. It's like, where's Mark and whatever.
Yeah. That's
and they can't hear him because he's down there.
Movie.
Right? And then he told me, he was like, this is again very so unlike my dad. He's like, I still to this day have a reoccurring dream like every month about being trapped in that. And he said he never again, like his grandma had that house until she died. He never again, he wouldn't go 1 foot in the basement, even though everyone would like make fun of him or whatever, because he said there was something about it. Then he said every time he'd like go to the steps, he would be filled. He's like, and it wasn't even this feeling of like being trapped in that. He's like, it was whatever felt like what it was in there was so horrifying to him. So he has this reoccurring dream. And then he said, about how many years later was it? I guess I was like in my teens. There was then this one house that we moved into, which was so weird because it was the one house that I've had sleep paralysis in. And he told me...
sleep paralysis, I think is not... I think sleep paralysis is not... I don't know. I always think when people talk about sleep paralysis, I'm like, there is some shit going on. That is not just...
No.
I think there can be. I think it is. I think when it's location based, like, you know, it only happens in this house or in this room or whatever. I think if more than one person has it, I think sometimes you hear these stories. Someone, I sleep in the same bed as my dog, and sometimes people will tell me, like, my dog was going crazy at the old hag lady in the corner or whatever. Yeah. So that's when I think that there's really something there.
Yeah, I agree with you, because it's like there's some like sleep paralysis moments that I can like square away that I was like, maybe I was in and out of sleep, but there's some where you're like, I was so vividly awake, like I was so
scared. I don't know, the sense of like terror is like another.
Yeah, and feeling so vividly. But he told me then that in this house that he started to have that dream like every night, the him being trapped. He's like, all of a sudden I had kind of forgotten about it a little bit, and all of a sudden it was coming back every single night.
By the way, is he claustrophobic or no?
No.
Okay.
He still isn't claustrophobic now.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it's weird because it's not like
it's not he had PTSD from this experience.
It wasn't being trapped. It was the whatever was in there is what terrified him.
Oh, I don't like that.
No, and but then he was like have that dream reoccurring, and then it like kind of, but like every once in a while, right? And then we moved into this house, and he said it was like every single night I was having this dream.
Oh fuck.
And he's like, and then he's like, I never told you because I didn't want to freak you out. He's like, and this is the time when we were actually very like, he was still super involved in the church, So the church we were participated in was very not like, we don't talk, like it wasn't spiritual in the way like anything like demon or anything like that. He said he was regularly having these moments where he's like, I would lay in bed, he's like, and I would be vividly awake, and I would have these like dark beings at the foot of the bed. And he's like, I would just be there. He's like, and I couldn't move. He's like, when I would just see this dark being on the bed. He's like, and at one point there was one day, he's like, it yanked me out of bed. I swear to God.
No.
Yeah. And I'm just like, what the fuck, Dad? And he's like, I never talked about it because he's like, I don't know. He's like, I feel crazy. And I also don't want to freak you guys out. But it was so weird because that was the one home that I ever had sleep paralysis in where I saw like a being. Versus like just laying there and like, no, you know, when you can't move or talk and you're freaking out. It was like, that was the one place that I saw a being. And that was also the place where the person was on the side of our house who had been staring at me, who then opened the pool gate and did this weird thing where like found the keys to our pool gate and opened both gates and put the stakes in and was like watching us on the side of the house, who was like in the dark, like
a living human person.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I mean, maybe, I don't know.
Yanking people out of bed, that's the worst. That to me is the scariest thing.
Yeah, being physically like...
I can't even have like my toes like hanging out.
No.
Oh,
No.
Yeah. And the thing I always talk about is if a thing is strong enough to pull you out of bed, imagine all the good things that they could do around the house.
Yeah,
like,
true.
what a waste.
What a waste of a
Take
demon.
up.
If you're going to be
trash.
misplacing items, put them where they need to go.
Girl,
you've been watching. You know where everything belongs.
Wash the dishes.
We could do the Dirty Dancing finale. They could pick me
True,
up. We
yeah.
could do cute things.
Speaking of pulling out, my uncle was telling me...
Wait, what?
Pulling out.
What was that segue?
Speaking of pulling out, we're taking a swift turn in this podcast. It's gonna get a little spooky, a little sleazy.
Tell.
Okay. The yanking out of bed.
Yes.
My uncle told me that when he was in college, the dorms that he was living on were old army barracks. And he, at the time, he didn't get along with anyone at his school. And so he was in this dorm that was kind of like chaotic and a little rough house-y. And he was at the very last room, and most people had to bunk together, but there was this one dorm, or this one like hall, where there were 2 empty rooms at the end of the hall. And so he took one of them, and so he had a full room to himself that was empty, and then a room right next to him that was empty and no one had ever ended up moving into. And he said that he started to have these weird, like when he moved in, he's like, I started to like kind of hear weird things. He's like, I would go to the bathroom right next door, and he's like, I remember just hearing a typewriter constantly, like just... And this was an art school. It was all, they just had paintbrushes and sculptures. There was no typing. And so he'd go to the bathroom. He's like, I would just hear and just like talking. And he was just like always kind of so like,
I don't like that.
No. And he was just like on edge all the time. And he said one day he went in his bedroom, and he's like, I was absolutely awake. Because he's like, there was a fight going down in the hall and it was keeping me up. And like, he's like, I'd always pop my head out and they'd call me mother. Cause I was always like, he was always like, you guys stop fighting.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the hall. So he's like, he had just popped his head out and had the light on. And then he's like, you guys stop, Closes the door, turns the light off. And he said, I just lay down and I hear a, like someone hawking a loogie. He's like, and I feel spit just splatter against my face. Like, I flipped the light on right away, freaking out. It's like I'm looking in the mirror, and there's a full, like, spit across my face.
That's fucking weird.
Ew.
Yeah. And so then he's just, like, obviously panicking. Oh, and this was the other part. Sorry. Most of the noise that he would hear would come from the room next to his that was completely empty, that no one was living in. So until the loogie, he had only really heard sounds in the bathroom and in this empty room. He said, in fact, with the empty room, he would often like peek in because he would hear sounds, and he would notice that like the shades would be down a certain way. And then the next day they'd be up. He's like, so I started messing with it. So I'd go in and I'd pull the shades a certain way, and then I'd go check the next morning and they were a different way.
Wait, but was there an actual loogie or like a ghost
he said
loogie?
he said there was actual spit on his face.
That's wild.
Okay.
And so then he was having all these things, but he was by himself, like down the hall. And they ended up getting a new RA like 2 weeks afterwards. And so then the RA moved into that room. The RA was in there one night.
Said, out of here.
The next morning, he knocks on Andre's door and he's just like, what's going on? Like what's going on in that room? He's like, does anyone on this hall do like witchcraft or anything like that? And Andre's like, no, why? And he's like, because someone physically pulled me out of my bed last night.
Oh, I hate that.
And Andre said he was there for 2 more months. And he said every single night this poor guy had his lights on all night and played Christian music. And like never slept because he was so freaked out and would hear things and feel things in the room. And then it was like after 2 months he was like, peace, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, that is when I would become a nun.
Yeah.
That's when I'm like,
Lord Jesus.
Googling convents. Which one do I need to go to?
Yep.
Because I can't live that way.
So someone fully pulled out of their bed, full spit across their face.
Speaking of pulling out and spitting in someone's face.
You're like, this is not the fun kind though.
Oh my God, you guys. Going back to that hide and seek story, because that made my wheels start turning, because I'm like, what is the horror movie that's haunted house? And I think it's The Conjuring, where they're like playing hide and go seek, they're doing the clapping thing. And then that reminded me.
That was one of the best trailers, by the way,
That
ever. Do you guys remember that
clapping,
trailer?
Oh my God.
hate it.
My whole body.
So scary. But so I have had on this past year.
I listened to it and I was just going to bring it up.
Yes, Andrea Perrin.
So good.
I'm obsessed with her.
So
she
good.
is the eldest daughter of the real family that the movie is based on. You know.
got to listen to this episode,
I
Jess?
have full chills.
She's also amazing. She's really funny. She's really cool.
And she's just like, oh no. They were pissed. What's the ghost's name or the spirit's name?
I can't remember. There's a lot of them, but she
the main like old ghost who.
Bathsheba Sherman.
Bathsheba.
Yeah, that they like the story in the movie is very much not the story of the real.
And she was talking about how Bathsheba was pissed about how she was portrayed in the movie and like this whole in the seances that they've held it was so good. Anyway, continue.
She's got incredible stories.
Oh my God.
And she makes it sound like the real one is so much scarier than the movie.
Mm-hmm.
The
For
movie
real?
does not seem, according to her, and she's written books about it and stuff, and I'm obsessed with her.
She said it was way scarier.
Way scarier.
She said that they had to like water it down for the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, bring us Conjuring 5 where we get the full unfiltered version of what's going on.
Well, go listen to when she was on my show. It's a 2-part.
It's good.
We get into a lot of it. She also can sing and make UFOs appear in the sky.
What?
She starts singing and you'll see lights in the sky apparently.
Get your goggles on.
Honestly, some people just have
that thing,
that connection to the other
it
world.
Factor.
Did you guys know that the Conjuring house is for sale?
I did see that.
I did just see that too.
And it seems like the old owners had been using it as like an Airbnb.
Yeah, they seem to be very they're paranormal investigators, and they were really into letting people have the experience of seeing the activity in the house.
Would you guys spend the night there on an Airbnb?
Hell fucking no.
No way. Absolutely
See,
not.
I would definitely do it. I mean, I would have to have like a group of people with me. I would never just go with like
I feel like I've talked to you about this because one of the times I think I was on the show, I probably told the story about when I stayed in a haunted bed and breakfast and I left in the middle of the night.
Yes.
And it's because I was with my friend.
I remember that very vividly.
Yes. My friend was he was just wanting to go to bed. And that's why I need to go to these places with people. I want to live stream.
Yeah.
There was just this girl on TikTok that was live streaming in a haunted hotel and people kept sending it to me. And I guess like millions of people or whatever watched it. But that's the way to do it.
Live streaming your attic.
Yeah.
Because then you won't feel like you're alone, I think.
And then you have proof.
I would
proof,
I'm not going to go one-on-one with someone. I'm not going to go with
you don't want to
like,
go toe to toe with Bathsheba?
No, I'm saying if I'm not going to go like with Evan and spend the night, just the two of us.
Well, would you do that on like the Queen Mary?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But But I'm like,
I've done it. I left in the middle. But nothing
You got
happened.
big balls on you until 1 a.m.
Nothing happened though. I was just like, I don't like the feeling of I know that this place is haunted.
Yeah.
Even like I've been in hotel rooms where I'm like, it feels like there's something going on here, but I'm like, no one has told me it's haunted, so I'm like good. Like when I hear all these stories, I'm like, that's gonna happen to me. So
yeah, I think for
yeah,
me,
what were you saying?
I would be so into going like there's like 7 people. And you go and you stay and you Airbnb or you're in a hotel or whatever, and there's like a big group of you, and I'd be like, we're not sleeping tonight, or we're barely, or we're taking shifts. But like, I would love to do that.
And you bring all the toys and
bring all the toys and do all that fun stuff. But I'm like, I can't do I can't do 2 people and trying to like literally sleep in the night.
No, absolutely not. I have no interest in that.
I get freaked out. There was, when I went to college, there was it was rumored that one of the buildings, so they had one building that was still from the original school, and it was pretty old. And apparently before they turned it into a school, it used to be a quote unquote insane asylum. Okay. And so they were like, this used to be what this was. And then they changed it into a school, at the beginning of the 1900s. And it's the only original building there, and it's down. So it's a basement area. So you'd have to go down to your classes, and they'd be like in the basement. And they said there were like catacombs down there, and that was the whole rumor. And it was the James building, and everyone was freaked out. And I had a class there at nighttime. So I'd like go across campus and go into the James building at night alone. And I was terrified every single time. I'm like, but if I had a group of people with me, I was okay, and I was like giggling about it. But I'm alone? Fuck no.
Absolutely
I was
not.
absolutely terrified every time. Even though my brain, I was like, I know this is a rumor. Like, there's no way that it is. There's just no way. I don't believe it. I don't believe that I think they even proved that it was just a school rumor and it was bullshit.
Well, I'm just worried about something attaching to me because with my luck. Or what if, okay, might sound crazy, but what if other demons or ghosts sense the essence of this very powerful demon or ghost or whatever, and then in your home is more likely to be like, a little entry point,
You mean like a hellhole?
Kind of, with you.
Like the hole in Buffy that's just like the portal to hell?
There was this property in Clovis, where I'm from, that...
Yes, wait.
You know about the Sanitarium?
Yes, because...
Dude, this is actually, Okay,
wait,
tell.
What?
My friend Chris Colfer, who's an actor and author from the TV show Glee and stuff. He was recently on my show, and he's from Clovis.
Yeah,
and
he had the same high school drama teacher as I did, Mrs. Kaler.
God.
Shout out Mrs. Kaler, who actually is a phenomenal drama teacher. But
first of all, Chris Colfer was a gift from ghost podcasting gods. Ghosts are obsessed with Chris Colfer, even aliens and everything.
Wow.
And so I was like looking up things about where he was from, and then I found that place. Yeah, go on.
No, I was just gonna say, I remember driving past it like as a kid, and I'd be like in my friend's, mom's car or whatever, and they'd be like, that place used to be an insane asylum. Like, they tore it down in 2014, so pretty recently, but it was, let me read about it real quick. The Wolf Manor, originally known as the Andrews Estate, later the Clovis Avenue Sanitarium. It was built in 1922. It was 8,000 square feet, had a ballroom and 5 bedrooms. In 1935, 13 years later, don't know what happened there, it became the Hazelwood Sanitarium. In the 1950s, it was licensed by the Department of Mental Hygiene. In 1954, a hospital wing was added to the house where they treated mental disorders, and it was shut down only in 1992, actually.
Wow.
It became a haunted attraction.
It became a haunted attraction. It was really popular, and they had to tear it down because it was
driving people.
Yeah, and also it was, people said it was an eyesore. It was kind of like, it was very bizarre though. It was like, a lot of Clovis is like flat dirt lots and fields, and it was just kind of like there on the street. Like, it was just right there, and it was impossible not to notice it. But I had friends who went into it, and supposedly in the basement, like in the bottom floor, was like they would do like cremation down there, and supposedly like in the summers, I don't know, something like there's a heat wave and there's like a lot of dead bodies. They were like piling up in the basement because they couldn't like cremate them fast enough, and it gets really hot in Fresno, and it's just like hellish. Anyway, so basements are usually though cooler, right? Like, so my friends, they broke into it and they went to the basement. They said they swore it was like 10 or 15 degrees hotter the minute they got down in the basement. Like the air was just thick and hot. And they said they got the hell out of there. They were like, no thanks.
A lot of those like paranormal shows went to that place.
Really?
Yeah, there is like footage and stuff out there.
Creepy.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
I like those old buildings though. Ooh. Mm-hmm. I think, yeah.
I went to, so when I went to Sedona, there's a little mountain town called Jerome. It's an old mining town. You go up the mountain, and it's not far from Sedona at all. And it's like the whole town is incredibly haunted. And the place is like, they really embrace it. There's like a restaurant called like the Haunted Hamburger, and there's like ghost tours all day long. And they have a hotel with a history that I believe it was a hospital. And it's apparently very, very, very haunted. And it's like this, it's almost like Shining vibes, where it's like this old building that's like on the top of a mountain, and they say it's like super haunted.
Oh my God.
I would not stay in it.
You're like,
No
I will
thanks.
not be
Pass.
staying at the hotel.
Wait, I wish I had it edited. Somewhere on my phone, there is a video where I went to that place, I went to the bathroom, and I swear I was videotaping because I'm like, this bathroom's crazy. And I hear a voice in it. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh my God, yes. There's definitely a few spots in LA that feel a little...
You know where
looked
else?
up like
spooky.
haunted
Los
places.
Feliz feels a little spooky to me.
Oh, there's a lot of history there. Do you know about like,
Really?
the Los Feliz murder mansion?
Sounds familiar. I just always feel I love
We're gonna
Los
go into
Feliz,
this.
but like it always feels whenever I'm like strolling around town, I'm always like, this has a little bit of like a spooky vibe in a good way.
Well, it was really booming in like the 20s and like silent film era and that kind of thing. So Los Feliz murder mansion, which is not confirmed as being haunted, but it's this really messed up story. I'm always nervous about telling stories like this because I'm not the best at facts, and there are like actual facts.
Yeah.
Always
fact checking this, take it with a grain of salt.
Listen, you put that caveat on it, so you're good.
Okay, if you're getting facts from someone named Roz Drezfalez, that's a you problem.
That's on you.
So there's this house, and I think it was in the 50s.
Do you want me here? I'll just look it up. I got my phone.
Okay, well, how about fact check me as I go?
I will.
I'm
I
pretty
won't
sure
say
I
anything.
got
You
it.
keep going.
I'm pretty sure I got it pretty good. Okay, so this doctor in the 50s murdered his wife and tried to murder his children, and they got away, and then killed himself, I believe.
Oh, jeez.
And then the house kind of like sat empty for a long time. And people would say, this was like the urban legend around this area of Los Angeles, that you could like look in the windows, and this happened in December, that there were still like 50s Christmas presents.
Ew, creepy.
And somebody actually went in there and like took pictures a couple years ago. And but then it turns out that there was a family that bought the house and they used it as storage, like this big mansion. And nobody occupied it for years and years and years. And then it went on the
50
market.
years it was untouched.
Yeah, and then it went on the market, and this couple bought it, and they like kind of gutted it. They gutted it, and then they realized, I think, that it's just way too much work, and that now I think it might still be on. It might be on the market again. I'm not sure.
Wow.
But that's like a story that did happen, and people have gone in there and seen like blood stains, like little bits and pieces of things allegedly exist.
You guys want to hear? This is so bizarre. No, apparently, like there were. It's you told the story pretty much right, except
Pretty
that
much.
no, you did, except that apparently the people who bought it, they didn't make any changes to the decor, so it wasn't like visions of Christmas decor, like. No, apparently it's the original 1950s TV set,
like they
a
didn't
Christmas
touch
tree
anything.
and gifts. No, like they didn't touch anything.
Oh, that's
and
very
the furniture
creepy.
is covered in a thick layer of dust, and the living room remains the exact same as it was that night. No one did anything. And now the guy who owns it has refused to sell the property, but he frequents the site to feed his 2 cats who live there.
That is really spooky. That is so
one of those
spooky.
things. It's kind of like Cecil Hotel, where like the internet, like a lot of people have like gotten down to like the story, and that's where I'm like, all I know is mainly like the urban legend version of the story. But wait, I just found the EVP, the ghost voice.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so this is at the hotel in Jerome, and I think this is what because it was in a bathroom. I just started videotaping. I was in the bathroom stall, and I was like, because the bathroom looked like an old shower kind of, and I was like, this is cool. I started like videoing. I think I hear there's nobody in there. I think I hear a voice say, "I pooped here." Okay, wait. Voice. I think I hear an EVP. I pooped here. Wait. I think it says I pooped here.
Do it again.
Oh, totally pooped here. Oh my god.
That's what it said.
That's also a pretty loud. I mean, that was a loud voice.
There was nobody in there.
Where was this?
That's a loud voice.
This was in this
haunted
town, Jerome.
Oh yeah. Okay.
In Arizona.
Yeah.
At this haunted hotel. I pooped here.
What's going on with the Cecil these days?
I don't think it's open to business or for business.
They were gonna try to revamp it.
I know that was just being discussed, but I'm sure now after the Netflix documentary.
I know she's really had her moment, the Cecil.
She really has.
Because there's also been like ghost hunters have gone in there, and there's been like other specials, and I'm not sure. I don't know what the latest is.
Let's Google it. Let's see what's going on. Oh yeah, no. It is the Stay on Main. Yeah.
Wow. But I don't know if would you stay there overnight? That
Hell
place is dark energy. I went inside there one time.
You did? You did?
Really?
I didn't know about that.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I told you this. It's not a great story.
We talked about it either last year or 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, then I probably did tell it. It's not really a great story. It's just one night when me and my friend were like, let's go just see what it's like in there. And so we just walked in, and we got in the elevator, and we went like up a bunch of floors, and then we started walking around, and then security busted us. But we like went in the elevator and walked around, and there could be a lot of factors why I didn't like the energy, but I just did not like it in there.
Yeah.
Well, I think I told you guys that that Gray's friend was doing the lighting in there when they were renovating it. Yeah. And the security guard was like, a lot of shit goes on. Like a lot of shit goes on here. It seems like it's unanimous. Like, no, this place is fucked up.
Even when I was watching the documentary, just like visually, there's some places that like when I'll watch little documentaries or YouTube things about like, oh, this is haunted, I'm like, I would go there. But when I watched that, there was something about it, like I just felt just a chill in my bone, and that I'm like, I have no interest in going to that hotel.
Everything is just so dark there. It's like, it's very tragic and just dark.
Yeah.
Apparently it's now designated as a historical cultural monument by the city of Los Angeles, so I don't think they can tear it down. But in 2017 it closed for renovations. It hasn't opened its doors since.
Oh, great. They can keep it up for forever.
Terrifying.
It is really scary there.
I don't even know. I was gonna say I would like just walk through in the day. I don't even honestly know if I would want to. Like you're saying, it does feel
There's
like
something
dark.
about it, that I'm like, normally I'm like, if either of you were like, hey Jess, you want to go explore such and such, I'd be like, I'm on my way now with pretty much anything.
Coming.
But if you were like, we're gonna go to the Cecil, I'm a little bit like, there's something about it that I just don't. It just doesn't settle right with me.
Wait, Google image Cecil Hotel ghost. There's like somebody took a picture in like a window of a ghost that looks really spooky.
God, the Eliza Lamb stuff is just so horrible, though. Guys, if you don't know anything about the Cecil Hotel, Google it. It's just awful. It's just a place where endless horrible things have happened since it opened in like the 20s.
This picture, I don't know what it is. It just looks like something.
No, it definitely looks like someone is looking out the window.
See, that's the thing about like ghost hunting. Like, I'm not a big murder, true crime person per se.
No, not Becca and I are not either. No.
Yeah, and so like being a paranormal person, it's like you encounter like it's just part of it, and that's like the part I'm not like I like ooh like a little grandma ghost, like I like that. I don't
the
like
happy ghost.
I don't like the brutal murder ghosts
That's dark.
My thing is, it's like I want to always respect. I mean, there's a family involved, so many people, and sometimes with some of the true crime stuff, I'm just like, if this was like a family member of mine, like, and it's just kind of like, ooh, it's like, no, that's like,
Oh my God, this serial killer got him. Sad for her. It's like, oh, that's
it's
the
like
most
that's
horrible thing that
that's
could happen.
That's a person. That's a human. That's a person.
And
But
there's like all the worship of the murderers and stuff. I just
yeah,
don't.
that shit's
I don't
weird.
Like
no,
it.
that's
Did you guys know
so
the Comedy
fucked up.
Store is supposed to be haunted?
Of course,
Yeah,
it's very haunted.
It's very haunted.
Yeah, I've had a few people on my show that have performed there and stuff, and
Wow.
some stories.
Very haunted. I think I've heard the Laugh Factory is too. I think there's a.
That
I
seems
mean,
about right.
it doesn't not add up to me that a comedy with people, you know, the comedians around, that there would be some.
Yeah, the Hollywood Improv, they say, is haunted as well, and I've had she was a general manager. She does something there now, but she's been there for a long time. Rita, she came on my podcast, and she's got stories of that place. And so, you know, there is a theory of sometimes places are haunted not just because someone died there. I think that's like that's kind of like the basic belief.
Yeah, no, of course.
And there's buildings like that where people got their break, or they had the best moments of their life, or, you know, so when they passed, it's like their happy place. Or
Right. That's
Do you know
where
why
they
they
go
said
to
the
reside.
Comedy Store's haunted though?
yeah, because the mob, like there was long before it was the Comedy Store, it was a place called Ciro's, and it was like the place.
And they were often people in the basement.
Yeah, there was a lot of that, and so people see like gangster ghosts.
Which I'm okay with a gangster ghost.
I'm not. They're
Like,
going to be
I don't
the ones
think
that are going to choke you out of your bed.
That's true.
You're like,
I think they're just more something like, hey, like it's just like I think more cartoonish gangster.
Are you talking about your like pizzapreneur ghost? Is kind of what you're imagining.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
But
well, what a time.
What a time. I do have to go in a moment, but I did want to tell you both one more thing.
Okay.
Because again, we started this off talking about your secondhand shopping and estate sales.
Yes.
And I wanted to pass on a story just to
Ouija board?
beware. No, just to be aware of when you are making purchases.
Okay.
So one of our dear family friends, numerous years ago, him and his daughter were at a secondhand store, and she at the time was like probably 16, and she wanted to get a new like vanity for her room. And so he bought her this vanity, and they set it up in her room. And the day that they put it in, she went to bed, and she started to hear, you know, all the things, starting to hear all the thuds, getting touched in the middle of the night.
fuck.
But it felt menacing, and she would be like screaming and running to her parents' room. Now this she was so not that way before. Like she was never like worried or even like really thought about anything ghosty. And then they hadn't put together the fact that they just bought that, and then that all this stuff started to happen. And it just got worse and worse. Like she wasn't sleeping at all. And so they were trying to figure out what to do. Then one night, the mom lit a candle to like do a blessing, and as soon as they closed the door and left her alone, apparently like the flame just like popped like firework style, and she freaked out and goes back into her parents' room. You know, it's just a whole nightmare. Well, our friend heard from someone else that someone was like, never buy a mirror secondhand because a spirit can get caught in a mirror, and that's like a big thing. Like, don't get a secondhand mirror. Anything else, fine, not a mirror. And so what he did is apparently you have to wrap it up. And then you so you don't just break it or throw it away. If you break it, it's something like it can be released and like go elsewhere, but you're supposed to wrap it up really tightly, fully covered, and then break the mirror. And so he wrapped it up, he broke the mirror, and then he took it like to the dump. And from that day forward, it's been numerous years now, she has never had a hauntee experience ever again.
But what about the bad luck if you
I know,
break a
you gotta
mirror?
take that chance.
Oh,
you gotta take
God.
that luck chance.
There's this, I found these people, Vice did a video on these people, their company is called Unsettling Toys, and they're based in Portland, and they're these two fun people that created an adoption agency for
Haunted toys.
really ugly toys and spooky looking toys and haunted toys.
Amazing.
And they rehome them to people. They don't just sell them. They like figure out who's the right fit for each one of these. And they have all these stories about haunted dolls and toys.
Whoa.
What are they called again?
Unsettling Toys.
Unsettling toys.
Yeah.
I love
They
that.
were just
I'm kind of
recently on a couple
obsessed.
weeks ago.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Love that. Reminds me of your Cabbage Patch dolls from your house.
Well, they're gone. They are gone.
Anyway,
Anywho, Roz,
What a fun time.
We love you so much.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
coming
so
on.
much for
What a
coming on.
blast.
Broads, make sure if you haven't, it'll all be in the episode notes below. Check out Ghosted. It's an incredible podcast.
go listen
Thank
to
you.
the interview with Andrea Perez.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to that.
No.
Andrea Perrin.
Perrin.
Perez.
You're Perez.
Hernandez. Close enough. But yeah, there's
She's like, you're Perez. Yeah, you're like, she's
Yeah,
like,
I'm
you're
Perez.
Perez. And you're like,
You're Perez.
no.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I mean, like the great thing about it's been almost 3 years of doing these ghost stories. They don't have a shelf life. I mean, you might want to fast forward through the intros where I'm like, you guys, there's this thing called COVID. Like that's the part you don't have to worry about that. But the ghost stories don't expire. So I've got over 100. I don't know how many of these fun stories out there. And
Super fun.
aliens and we have ghosts and I've had on famous people and all kinds of people, experts, everything. And yeah, so go check it out.
And with
Do
that,
that, Broads.
broads,
Have a happy Halloween.
happy Halloween.
Stay spooky. And we'll chat soon.
Chat soon.
Bye.